afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Christmas is a week away, and I think this is probably going to be my last show at Area 58 until 2025 because it's going to be so busy down here. I'll do one at my Eastern location next week, and that'll be awesome. And tonight we have a last-minute guest from the lovely state of Ohio. This must be like my at least half a dozen show to Ohio. I'm starting to think that I'm going to have a Topic Time Hall of Fame down there, just like they have the Rock and Roll and the Football Hall of Fame. But before we get to him, I've got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So we have the Tide and True, the little curio shop in Onset. We have a new one, Dennis Auto Body in Rockland. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have Carver Jewels, Ronald Dyer and Lily Delano Goldsmiths right here in the building in Carver. We have Brian's Barbershop in Kingston. We have the Stonebridge Bar and Grill in Onset. They have waterfront dining and during the warm weather, right on the ocean. Seasonal outdoor seating and three beautiful bars. We have Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We have good old Dave's Automotive in Hanson, right up the road here on Route 58. We have Countertops Express in North Attleboro, experts in the installation and removal of quartz and granite. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Plymouth County Power Sports in Middleborough. And we have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialist in Abington. I want to thank you guys very much. And now, Mr. Steve Hamm, how you doing today? You're an actor, and we're going to talk to you and interview you and find out about your deal and your history. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you having me on, and it's going good here. It's a little chilly in Ohio, but I'm dealing with it. So.
Oh yeah, your face looks a little red, like you've been out in this, like you've got a little nip from the cold.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time outside today, and got me a little bit, so I had to come inside. But before it gets too cold, I wanted to get some time out there. So.
Okay, I get you. Me too. I mean, the days when I do my show, I love getting outdoors. I've never been to Ohio. I know. Are you in the rural part of it, or are you closer to the cities?
No, I'm in the city. I'm in a little small town called Sandusky. It's in between.
I know of Sandusky. Okay.
Yeah. It's been between Toledo and Cleveland.
Okay. Yeah, I've had some physical fitness people on from Youngstown, which is probably And then I had someone else on that was in Ohio. I had a couple of people, but you're an actor. We're going to focus on you today. So I had you on my contact list for a bunch of years, like I said. And it says on my contact list, it says Steve Hamm, actor. So that's fine. So tell me about, how young were you when you started acting? And let's talk, we'll take it from there and we'll work our way toward the president in the future. So go ahead.
Yeah. I guess my acting thing kind of started when I was still in the military. I was about to retire from the Army, and I think I've always had an inclination to do some acting throughout my life in a way, even when I was younger, but I didn't really focus on it too much. So once my military career was about to be over, I just had a wild thought, and I did a cold table read, basically workshop on a weekend down near Nashville. And it was run by a guy who used to have a full actor contract on one of the daytime soap operas back in the day. And I went there. What the heck I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It'll come to me in a second. He was a full contract player, and I went down there, and we just did, the scripts from really big movies that have, that have been around for a long time, and just being on the stage and doing the scenes like that. It was very, invigorating, I guess.
Invigorating, of course. All right, hold on a second. I got a question right off the bat. Now, you didn't start as a kid. You were already, you were in the military. Did you see combat before you even did this?
Yeah, I did. I joined the Army after I graduated high school. To make this long story short, I had signed up as a helicopter mechanic. I did that for about 8 years. And then, being around pilots all the time, you're like, man, that looks pretty cool to go fly. So fortunately, the Army has a helicopter flight training program. I applied for that, got accepted, and spent the rest of my Army time flying helicopters. I've done, once 9/11 kicked off, of course, everything changed for everyone. And I ended up doing 4 combat tours, so twice to Iraq, twice to Afghanistan. And then after about 23 years, I said, okay, I'm done. I got to move on, do something else. So
that's when you started acting?
Kind of, sort of. Once I retired the military, I had to figure out what my next job was going to be because, I'm still young. I was 38 years old, and I'm like, I still got a lot to go. So the natural transition for helicopter pilots, in the military is to go fly for EMS, emergency services, be a life flight pilot. So I was looking around and finally got a job with one of them in Ohio, basically Toledo, essentially, which brought me up to Ohio for work. And
Okay.
then once I got settled in, I was like, okay, I want to pursue some acting now. So I was looking around for some, people who would represent you, agents. And there's a ton of them in the Cleveland area, or I should say Akron area. And so I
Okay.
went to a open call one day, and they kind of liked my background. They kind of liked how I looked and stuff. And they said, yeah, we can do something with this. And they said, hey, if you want representation, we're here for you. So I said, sure, why not? I took the plunge. So basically, that was about the fall of 2013 is when I actually got representation to be an actor. And
That might have been when I got you on my contact list too.
yeah, maybe.
Sounds
So I've
about
been
right.
doing acting pretty much ever since then. I started out doing a lot of regional stuff, in the
Okay.
Akron area. Um, but I
Off
never.
films, any theater, just off films.
No theater. I did theater in high school. I did one play in high school for some extra credit, but that was it back in the
Okay.
day. But now it's mostly like regional commercials I've done. I've done several independent film projects. Other than that, it's hard to get into the big time, TVs and movies unless you're in New York or, LA, of course. And
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but now I'm up near Boston, and we've had since the movie Jaws came out in 1973. Oh, actually, that's really dating it because it was a wide gap in years. That was like
yeah,
one of the first films that was ever actually filmed, off the coast of Massachusetts, which is where I live. But in the late 90s, the film industry decided to come east because there's a lot of, like, for instance, Rhode Island next door to us in Massachusetts has tax breaks. That's one thing, but there were a lot of opportunities for actors in Massachusetts. Plus the fact that we had some of the local guys that were from Massachusetts, like Ben Affleck is from Massachusetts.
yeah,
We had that actress from she was on Saturday Night Live, Rachel Dratch, I guess. So then it turned out that we had a lot of very talented people in
yeah,
here, and it ended up opening up a lot of doors for us. And I've been in a couple of films too. I've been in a couple of big ones, and I've been in some independent ones as well.
yeah.
Now,
Congratulations.
so thank you. Yeah, I know. And this is my calling. So tell me about some of the films you've been in, though.
So there's been
By the way, we're going to look at a little trailer about halfway through the show of Steve's work.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, you already know.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there was I'm kind of forgetting some of the titles of the films, honestly.
All right, you don't have to remember the titles, but just give me an idea what kind of roles you
yeah,
had.
so the first one I did, it was a guy, independent director, reached out to me because he kind of lost track of one of his actors. They kind of fell off the grid, and he couldn't get him back into the set or whatever else. So I actually did a comment on a Facebook post for a friend of mine, and she was in the movie.
Okay.
And so the director reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be willing to do this?" And I was like, "Well, show me the script and let me look at it." And I was a little bit hesitant at first because the script had a lot of racial words in there and stuff, and in speech and dialogue that I wouldn't normally use. But I'm like, okay, so for a first time dialogue, I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And so we did it, and it was interesting, because you're in a park, you got just a couple cameras around, he yells action, you do your parts, you say your stuff, and it was just really cool to do it. But I think the biggest moment for me on that was when we actually went to a local theater over there, and they, had it did the first premiere. And watching yourself on the big screen, I was like, my heart was starting to pump, run real fast. And I'm like, oh my God, here's my scene, watching myself on the big screen. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I think from then on, it's like, this is something I really want to kind of do, with my life. But
this was in 2013, right?
this was probably in 2014, I think.
Okay. 10 years ago.
Yeah, so it was quite a bit ago. I've done a few other independent things. Regional commercials, I think, is pretty much more or less kind of in my wheelhouse. With either with companies that are with medicine or medical, whatever else, things like that. But I think my wheelhouse is essentially like with like playing a cop or detective role. A dad or a
you have that enforcement kind of work.
Yeah. And of course, military roles, but believe it or not, I haven't gotten very many military roles at all, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But
okay, well, guess what? We're about halfway through the show, and now we're going to watch a little demo reel of Hamm's, and we're going to come back and discuss it. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
What are you saying? What do you mean this job is not for you? It's a family business. Your grandfather started.
I know, but
But what, Ellis? He gave me this construction business when he retired. I'm supposed to hand it over to you when I retire.
I thought of you when I saw it. With everything you've been through this year, and with everything that's going on, I want this to be your stability. I want you to remember everything that happens from this moment on. Whether things in life seem unbelievably true or absurd, believe your eyes, Kyra. Because everything from here on out is for you. I'm doing this for you.
Well, Steve, that was great. Tell us what we just watched. Give us a little synopsis, if you would.
So the demo reel, the first one was there was a small independent film up front that I played the dad, and the kid was my son, and I wanted him to follow in the family business, and he really just didn't want to. He wanted to do something else, and I was having a hard time dealing with that. That was a sci-fi project that we filmed the scene, but unfortunately, it didn't go much farther than that. So, and that kind of happens with independent films. You know, they
I know.
some steam, you know, due to funding or whatever else. So, but it was kind of cool to get selected to play the role, and I think the scene went off pretty well. The second one of that, the second half of the reel is I was there was a New York project actually, and it's called a Cold Blooded, and I played a scientist slash dad, and I had a secret that I was hiding from my daughter, and it was supposed to be 10 episodes filmed in New York over a period of time. And so actually,
New York to film it?
What's that?
You go to New York? Did you?
Yeah, I had to go to New York and film it. Yeah, so it was for the pilot, and we went there, and it was fun filming the pilot. Basically, that scene is where I'm walking to my daughter's room, and she's lying in bed, and I'm trying to have a discussion with her about things that are coming up, but I'm being kind of secretive, you know, kind of hush hush. Unfortunately, you know, even though the director had all 10 episodes written out, I guess she didn't realize how much funding it would cost and things like that. So we never made it past the first episode, but it is on YouTube. So, you know, if you do look that up, Cold Blooded, you'll find that. So of course I have a link to that as well, but that was kind of the first big thing I did in New York, but I haven't been back there since. So it's just, acting is just kind of cool. You know, you get to be someone else, and, you know, and just, you know, kind of play make-believe in a way. But I think I found that acting is a way for me to express myself in ways. I've always had a kind of creative mind in a way, so to speak. So if I see a character or I read a script, my mind automatically starts working like, oh, I can kind of picture the scene if it's written well. I can picture, you know, how everything plays out. It just starts happening, you know, automatically. I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yep.
But I think breaking into the big stuff is a lot harder, though, you know, because you really have to be able to be on location, either like in New York or LA normally, which I don't have a problem with going and doing that and stuff. Fortunately now, you know, my EMS flying job is done, so I'm kind of semi-retired in a way. So my availability is really
Frees you up for more stuff.
Yeah. So it hasn't been all that great lately. I haven't been on for too much stuff, but when it comes up, you know, I try to take advantage of it and give it my best shot. Recently, there was a Cleveland independent director. He's done several like horror movies basically, and a friend of mine recommended that he reach out to me and for a certain role in a scene, and he reached out, and I did my audition self-tape. I sent it to him, and he liked it, and I got booked for it. So I'm not sure when that's gonna start filming. He's got a pretty much cast, but of course funding is the other issue, you know. So with independent films, that's the way it is, you know, until you get some money going, it's hard to film it. But, you know, I'm very happy that, and, you know, and gracious that, you know, that they cast me in it. And it was kind of fun to do the audition too. You know, I get to play a Italian kind of mobster slash card dealer, basically, you know, and I improvised the scene as best I could because I was the only one in the room to do it. So I had to do my best to make the scene come alive. I do give credit here where credit is due, that I got an acting coach out in LA. Her name is Shannon. And she didn't really help me with this specific scene, but in the past, with a lot of my lessons with her, she kind of taught me how to make the scene come alive when you're by yourself. Make people realize there's other people in the room when there really isn't. So I think taking all that to heart and just practicing, you know, time and time again, and just after a while, it just becomes natural. So that was kind of cool. I'm
sure it was. Have you ever tried writing your own scripts for films?
I mean, a lot of people think that, you know, actually a lot of the celebrities out there say, you know, if you really want to get noticed, write your own stuff and direct your own thing.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, you just said you're a creative person.
Yeah.
It might not be a bad idea to give it try it.
I could. I mean, I bet if I find the time. I think what I would like to write for myself, I guess, it may sound, I don't know, kind of corny or whatever else, but, you know, being kind of a quiet guy, but maybe has like a big martial arts background, or is not afraid of confrontation, when needs to be, and
Seem to be that type of person. I can see that right now.
yeah, that those kind of roles really, kind of intrigue me basically when you see that someone who you're not expecting to be able to, take some people out, or to deal with a situation that would make normal people, kind of cringe in fear, and walk
Kind of
away.
like Bill Bixby in the Hulk until he turned into Lou Ferrigno, right?
Yeah,
If you don't
yeah,
turn into Lou Ferrigno, you just do what you do. You
right.
handle it right there, just as you don't
Yeah,
have to change your form to handle
yeah.
it. Take care of it. Okay, no, I can see
I
that.
think when I see movies that involve like with operations with the CIA, and things like that, those kind of characters in there. Not knowing that, I don't think I could be one of those CIA agent operatives in the field doing that kind of stuff. I could be a boss perhaps, but
Yeah,
those kind of roles, really intrigue me, where there's just a lot of suspense, and kind of twists and turns. And you really don't know where they're going, even if it's a cop show, if it's a murder scene, being that seasoned detective, and knowing when you walk into a scene that as soon as you're there, people are like, oh boy, he's here, the respect is already there. He knows how to work the scene, and kind of intense, but at the same time, you can relate to him. He's very believable. And those are the kind of characters that I would like to do. I can do, upbeat too, and that's not a problem. I don't mind that
definitely
either.
a Steven Seagal prototype for sure.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't have all that fight training experience. I mean, I have some military fight training, but I just I think, if the role is written well, then it just comes naturally. I do like to do a lot of improv. I think that's
Okay.
kind of cool.
It is. I do.
So,
I mean, do you have a family, wife, kids, or?
yeah, I am married. I have actually I have three sons from a previous marriage. I have two stepdaughters right now. One's already graduated high school, and one's got one more year left.
Okay.
You got like two dogs, which is nice to have and stuff.
Of course.
But well, right now I kind of work as like a full-time realtor in my spare time, which is
Okay.
a very tough gig, about as tough as acting. With acting,
Don't you have a nice fallback for? I know you're a veteran. I guess you're not really. I'm thinking doing the EMS thing. That didn't give you like a good pension or anything like that.
Yeah. I have a nice, income coming in to support myself, so I don't have to worry about a real estate, commission to sustain my life, which is nice. I do like helping people, which is probably why I got into real estate too. Help people, buy and sell homes.
Right.
It is a tough market right now, especially after COVID, but I think, working on a set, and being an actor is cool. Whether or not it'll ever come to the point of where, I'm a household name, who knows? I don't try to do it for that reason, I do it for
Because you enjoy it.
yeah. And one of the videos, so the actor Bryan Cranston, great guy, great actor,
Yep.
great stuff. He did an interview one time, and he said the best thing for auditions, he's like, don't go in the audition room thinking that you have to book this role in order to survive, whatever else. As soon as you do that, you put this monkey on your back, you made it harder for yourself, and you're probably going to screw it up. So once you learn to walk into the room, forget all about that. Don't think that you have to have this role. Just, know your lines, make your bold choice of who you think you should be. Walk in the room, do your thing. When they say you're done, say thank you, walk out, and then forget it,
Yep.
Because normally, I'd say about 75% of the time, actors don't get the roles they audition for. They end up getting something else, or that director knows another director who's filming something like, hey, that guy might be good for that role over there instead, So
Yeah. Okay.
that's the kind of stuff that that's in my head now. So I think I think self-tapes are a lot easier to do than, actually in-room auditions.
Okay, I know what you mean. When you send it to directors.
Yeah.
That's worked for you, right?
Yeah, it has. I think though that some people take it to an extreme where, I only do 3 takes and then I pick the best one, I send it in. You can do so many takes where you're looking for perfection and go past it, and all of a sudden you just like, yeah, that didn't work, and you got like 15 takes. It's like, which one do I choose? Know your lines, do 3 takes, pick one, send it in as soon as you can, and then, go, and then forget it, and if they like you, they'll contact you. If not, then, try again next time.
Just move on. Have you
Yeah.
ever done anything else? Have you ever done music, played sports? You look like you're athletic, and you look like you might be talented and all that. I'm just checking. I want to make sure.
Yeah. No, I
have to show
I
up.
don't mind playing golf. I'm not really great at it, but I do like to get out there sometimes on the links. I'm really big into going to the gym, weightlifting,
Okay.
stuff like that. I'm not trying to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think for me, it's just a matter of staying fit,
Yeah, same here.
I was fit, I can see that you're very fit.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm 65. I feel pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do try to take care of myself as best I can. Work out 3 times a week, and it keeps me sane in the head, and keeps me going. But working out, watching movies, and then just kind of living the best life I can, and
Your
doing
family and stuff, have to fall back. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Steve? We're under 5 minutes. I hope you had fun talking to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate it too. You were a great guest. So what I
Thanks.
want you to do in the remaining, thank you. So what I want you to do in the remaining time is just give a few shouts out to people that are going to see the show. Just condense them, and then we'll wrap it up with my snap and the way we began it.
Oh, who do I want to see the
Family,
show?
whatever, friends, directors. You already mentioned some people.
Yeah. God, problem is names are escaping me right now.
Well, don't worry about that. They don't know. I mean, remember, we'll notice that you're on my show tonight. So
Yeah. No, there's some directors out in Cleveland. Can't remember them by name at the top of my head, but yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to the guy who gave me my first speaking role. Obviously, that was pretty interesting. His name was David, actually.
okay.
And a big shout out to my acting coach, Shannon Yanksarak.
That's the one you mentioned before.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's just phenomenal. She's really good. She knows how to pick out idiosyncrasy. She knows how to make a scene look better with just some small touches. And matter of fact, one of the roles that I had booked that unfortunately that show I didn't get to go out and do the scene. She helped me work that audition, and when I sent it in, it got me booked. So I really have a lot of faith in what she does and stuff. So anyone that's shout out to Shannon. If anyone's looking for an acting coach, Shannon Yanksarak, you can find her on on Facebook for sure. But she does have her own acting studio. And yeah, she's just phenomenal. So
Well, maybe we can get her as a guest on my show. If you know anybody,
maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
You got my numbers. Have them call me. Get them on either by text or in person, preferably in person. All right. Is there anything coming up on the horizon real quick that you want to mention before we wrap it up? If not, that's fine. But I just want to make sure we cover it.
Just the book I got booked for recently. It's called The Yule Monster. That's what's going to be coming out. It's going to be a horror flick, and but I'm looking forward to playing an Italian mob guy that likes to deal cards. Unfortunately, not sure how long my character will last, but it's still fun to
I got a joke you can tell them. You say you're gonna say I represent. I'm a mobster that represents cars. I have an extra hood under the hood. All right. All right, we're gonna wrap the show up. Just stick around and do pictures for Facebook. My tech guy will take them, and then I'll tag you in them. All right, thanks.
Okay.
All right, folks, this is the last show at Area 58 until 2025. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Rolling off and snapping out. There we go.